The rain started the moment Isabella Romano stepped out of the ballroom. Not before, not during, the moment she left. Like the night itself had been waiting. Her heels clicked against polished marble, each step steady, controlled, deliberate. No one looking at her would have guessed her world had just cracked open behind those gilded doors. She didn't look back. She couldn't. Not after what Adrian Whitmore had said. The words still echoed in her ears, sharp and clean, delivered with a smile while 200 guests watched. Isabella, he'd laughed, swirling champagne in his glass. She's decorative. Quiet. That's why I keep her around. She knows not to embarrass me. The investors had chuckled politely. Some looked away. No one defended her. No one ever did. Isabella had stood beside him in her silver dress, the one she spent 3 months saving for because Adrian said she needed to look perfect tonight. Perfect for his partners. Perfect for his image. Perfect for everyone except herself. Her hand trembled slightly around the champagne glass. She smiled. Of course she smiled. She always smiled. 8 years of marriage had taught her that silence was safer than reaction. So she excused herself politely, walked toward the restroom, then kept walking. Out the hallway, past the reception desk, through the revolving doors. Now the cold night air hit her face. The wind cut through her thin dress, but she barely felt it. Not compared to the hollow ache spreading inside her chest. The city lights blurred as she stepped onto the sidewalk. Cars passed. People laughed. Life continued. No one noticed her leaving. Isabella walked without direction, clutch pressed against her chest, breath shallow. She couldn't go home. Home was Adrian's penthouse. Home was questions, accusations, punishment for embarrassing him. 3 blocks later, she stopped under a streetlight. Her heels were soaked, her mascara running, her hands shaking. She had nowhere to go. No friends, no family, no plan. Adrian made sure of that. Over the years, he dismantled her life piece by piece. Friends were bad influences. Work was unnecessary. Independence was disrespectful. Until all she had left was him. Isabella swallowed hard. No, not anymore. She kept walking. Then she saw it. A small cafe. Warm light spilling onto the wet pavement. Quiet. Almost empty. A place where she could sit. Breathe. Think. She pushed the door open. A bell chimed softly. Inside, the air smelled like coffee and rain. Soft jazz played in the background. A bartender wiped glasses. A couple whispered in the corner. And one man sat alone at the bar. He didn't turn around. But he noticed her. Isabella didn't know how she knew. She just felt it. She took a seat near the window, staring at the rain sliding down the glass. Her hands still trembled. Her chest still tight. She thought she had escaped the humiliation. She thought she had left it behind. What she didn't know? The man at the bar had seen everything. And Luca DeLuca never ignored a woman who walked away like that. The cafe was quiet. Not empty. Just quiet enough for Isabella Romano to hear her own breathing. Slow. Uneven. Trying to steady itself. She kept her eyes on the rain outside, watching droplets slide down the window like silent tears. The warmth inside the cafe felt unreal compared to the cold ballroom she had just escaped. A server approached gently. She was young, kind eyes, soft voice. Rough night. Isabella hesitated. Was it that obvious? She nodded slightly. Just water, please. Of course. Lily Bennett returned with a glass of water, napkins, and a small plate of biscotti Isabella didn't ask for. She placed them quietly, like she understood words weren't needed. Take your time, Lily said. We're open late. Isabella mouthed a thank you and wiped her face carefully. She didn't want to cry. Not here. Not anymore. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Her breathing slowed. Her thoughts began to untangle. The humiliation replayed in fragments. But something else crept in too. Anger. Not loud. Not explosive. Quiet. Growing. She was so lost in thought she didn't notice the man approaching until he stopped beside her table. Excuse me. Isabella looked up. He was tall. Dark hair. Gray eyes that seemed to study everything without being intrusive. His suit was expensive, but understated. He carried himself with calm authority. I'm sorry to disturb you, he said quietly. You came in alone. You seem upset. I wanted to make sure you're all right. Her instinct was to shut him down. She had enough of men. I'm fine, she replied automatically. He didn't argue, just nodded once. If you say so, I'll be at the bar if you need anything. He turned to leave. She should have let him go. Instead, wait. He stopped. Why? she asked softly. Why would you care about a stranger? The man considered the question. Because sometimes, he said, the difference between surviving a bad night and not surviving it is one person noticing. The words hit harder than she expected. She gestured to the chair. Sit. He did. I'm Isabella, she said. Luca, he replied calmly. Silence followed. Comfortable. Unforced. I just walked out of my husband's birthday party, she admitted. Luca nodded slowly. Did he deserve it? She let out a small breath. Yes. The cafe felt like another world. Warm lights. Soft jazz. The quiet hum of conversation that didn't demand anything from her. Isabella Romano wrapped her hands around the glass of water, letting the cool surface ground her. Her heart was still racing, but the storm inside her chest was beginning to settle. Rough night. She looked up. Lily Bennett stood beside the table, her expression gentle, her voice low enough not to draw attention. Isabella nodded faintly. Just water, she whispered. Lily returned moments later with water, napkins, and a small plate of biscotti. On the house, she said softly. Take your time. Isabella wiped the mascara from beneath her eyes. Each breath came easier than the last. The humiliation still burned, but distance was helping. For the first time in years, she wasn't being watched, or judged, or corrected. She was just sitting, existing, thinking. That's when she felt it. Someone noticing her. Not staring, not intrusive, just aware. The man at the bar. He turned slightly, as if confirming what he already sensed, then stood and approached her table with controlled, unhurried steps. Excuse me, he said. Isabella looked up. He was tall, composed, dressed in a charcoal suit that fit him perfectly. His presence wasn't loud, but it filled the space. Calm, dangerous, controlled. I'm sorry to disturb you, he continued. You came in alone. You seem upset. I wanted to make sure you're all right. She almost dismissed him. Men who approached her usually wanted something. I'm fine, she replied automatically. He nodded. Didn't challenge her. Didn't push. If you say so, he said quietly. I'll be at the bar if you need anything. He turned to leave, but something about his restraint made her speak. Wait. He stopped. She hesitated. Why would you care? He studied her for a moment before answering. Because sometimes, he said calmly, the difference between breaking and surviving is one person noticing. Her throat tightened. She gestured to the empty chair. You can sit. He did. I'm Isabella. Luca. The name settled between them. I just walked out of my husband's birthday, she admitted quietly. Luca's expression didn't change. Was it deserved, he asked. She exhaled slowly. Yes. They spoke for nearly an hour. Not continuously. Not intensely. Just enough. Luca de Luca didn't ask intrusive questions. He didn't push her to explain everything. He simply listened. The kind of listening Isabella Romano had forgotten existed. My husband likes control, she admitted quietly, tracing the rim of her glass. Everything has to be perfect. His image. His reputation. His wife. And tonight? Luca asked. He reminded everyone that I'm part of the decoration. The words sounded calmer than she felt. Luca's jaw tightened slightly. You left, he said. Yes. Good. Simple. Firm. No hesitation. Isabella looked at him, surprised. Most people would have told her to go back. To fix things. To apologize. Luca didn't. I don't know what happens now, she admitted. What do you want to happen? The question caught her off guard. No one had asked her that in years. I don't know, she said honestly. I just know I can't go back tonight. You don't have to, he replied. The certainty in his voice made her look up. You barely know me, she said. I know enough. He reached into his jacket and slid a card across the table. No logo. No company name. Just a number. If you need help, he said calmly. Call. She stared at the card. Why would you do this? Because you walked in here looking like someone who finally decided to stop suffering. The words landed quietly, but deeply. Before she could respond, Lucas stood. I should go, he added. You're leaving? For now. He held her gaze. Use the card if you need it. Then he walked out. Just like that. Isabella sat frozen, the card in her hand, unsure what had just happened. She didn't know his world. Didn't know his power. Didn't know the man she had just spoken to controlled far more than businesses. Across the street, a black sedan waited. Lucas slid into the back seat. Marco turned slightly from the driver's seat. Boss. Luca looked out the window, watching Isabella through the cafe glass. Find out everything, he said quietly. About her. And the husband. Marco nodded. The engine started. And Marco, Luca added. Yes, boss. No one touches her. The car pulled away into the night. Inside the cafe, Isabella Romano had no idea. Her life had just been placed under the protection of one of the most dangerous men in the city. Isabella Romano left the cafe just after midnight. The rain had slowed to a mist, the city glistening under streetlights. She clutched Luca De Luca's card in her hand, unsure why she hadn't thrown it away yet. Maybe because it felt like the only solid thing she had. She checked into a small hotel 3 blocks away. Nothing fancy. Beige walls. Thin curtains. A bed that creaked when she sat down. But it was hers. For the first time in years, she slept without waiting for Adrian Whitmore's footsteps. Morning came quietly. Then the phone started buzzing. Adrian. Missed call. Again. And again. Texts followed. Where are you? This isn't funny, Isabella. You embarrassed me last night. Answer me now. You don't walk out on me. Her stomach twisted. She turned the phone off. Silence filled the room. The quiet felt powerful. Day 1 passed slowly. She ate little. Thought a lot. Walked around the city, trying to imagine a life that didn't revolve around Adrian. By day 2, reality hit. She checked her bank balance. $3,200. That was everything. Her secret savings. Money she'd hidden over 6 months. Not enough for long. Not enough for safety. Her options were shrinking. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She ignored it. Then she looked at the card. Luca De Luca. She stared at it for a long time. He didn't pressure her. Didn't flirt. Didn't demand anything. He just noticed. That mattered. She picked up the hotel phone. Dialed the number. It rang once. Twice. Then a calm female voice answered. De Luca Holdings. Isabella hesitated. I'm looking for Luca. May I ask who's calling? Isabella Romano. A pause. Please hold. Her heart pounded. Then his voice came on the line. Isabella. Relief hit unexpectedly. You remember me? She asked softly. I remember everything, Luca replied. She swallowed. I left my husband. I'm in a hotel. I don't know what to do next. Silence. Then, I'm sending a car. Her breath caught. That's not necessary. It is. His voice stayed calm, controlled, certain. You're not safe where you are. She froze. What do you mean? I'll explain when you arrive. The line went dead. 20 minutes later, a black sedan pulled up outside her hotel. The black sedan moved smoothly through the city. Isabella Romano sat quietly in the back seat, her hands folded in her lap, heart beating faster with every passing block. She didn't know where she was going. She didn't know why she trusted Luca De Luca. But she did. The driver didn't speak. The windows were tinted. The city slowly gave way to quieter streets, then larger homes, then private roads lined with trees. Finally, the gates opened. The estate beyond them looked unreal. Modern stone and glass. Expansive grounds. Security cameras she barely noticed. The car stopped at the entrance. A man in a dark suit opened her door. Ms. Romano, he said. I'm Marco. Mr. De Luca is expecting you. She followed him inside. The interior was quiet, elegant, controlled. Nothing flashy. Just wealth that didn't need to prove itself. Marco led her through wide hallways until they reached a terrace overlooking a lake. Luca stood there, hands in pockets, watching the water. He turned as she approached. You came. You sent a car, she replied. His eyes scanned her quickly, as if confirming she was unharmed. You shouldn't have stayed at that hotel, he said. Why? Your husband filed a missing person report. Her stomach dropped. What? He's claiming you're unstable. That you disappeared. That he's worried. Isabella felt cold. That's not true. I know, Luca replied. But he's building a narrative. Fear crept in. What does that mean? It means he's not trying to find you, Luca said quietly. He's trying to control you. Her chest tightened. That sounds like him. Luca stepped closer. You're safe here. The words felt heavier than comfort. Why are you helping me? She asked. He studied her carefully. Because I've seen men like him destroy women like you. Silence. Then, a phone buzzed in Luca's pocket. He glanced at it. His expression hardened. What is it? Isabella asked. Your husband hired people. Her heart skipped. To do what? To bring you back. The calmness in his voice made it worse. But they won't get close, he added. How do you know? Luca's eyes darkened slightly. Because they'd have to get through me first. Security tightened immediately. Isabella Romano noticed it the next morning. More staff. More movement. quiet conversations that stopped when she entered the room. Something had shifted. Luca DeLuca was already in his study when she knocked lightly. He stood near the window, phone in hand, expression cold and focused. "You should be resting," he said. "I can't," she replied. "You said my husband hired people." "Yes." Her stomach tightened. "To take me. To force you back." She crossed her arms, trying to steady herself. "What are we going to do?" Lucas studied her for a moment. "We let them try." The word startled her. "What?" "They're watching the estate," he explained calmly. "Waiting for an opportunity. We give them one. You want me to be bait?" He didn't deny it. "You won't be in danger," he said. "My men will be close. The moment they move, we stop them." Her heartbeat quickened. The old Isabella would have panicked. But she wasn't that woman anymore. "I'll do it," she said. Luca's eyes narrowed slightly. "You don't have to. I'm tired of running." Silence filled the room. Then he nodded once. "All right." The plan took 2 days. Isabella followed her normal routine. Breakfast, walks in the garden, time reading in the library. Everything designed to look predictable. But she felt it. Eyes watching. Security tightening. The quiet tension before a storm. On the 3rd night, it happened. She sat in the library, a book open in her lap. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Then, glass shattered. Her pulse spiked. 2 masked men rushed inside. "Mrs. Whitmore," one said, "your husband wants you home." "I'm not going anywhere," she replied, voice steady. The second man pulled out a syringe. "We can do this easy." The door burst open. Marco moved first. Another guard tackled the second man. Chaos exploded. Within seconds, both intruders were pinned to the floor. Luca appeared in the doorway. His expression was lethal. "Take them," he said quietly. The men were dragged away. Silence returned. Isabella's hands trembled slightly. Luca crossed the room. "Are you all right?" She nodded. "Yes." He studied her carefully. "It's over," he said. She exhaled slowly. "For good." His eyes hardened. "For good." The house felt quieter after that night. Not tense, just calm, like a storm had finally passed. Isabella Romano sat on the terrace wrapped in a light blanket, watching the lake ripple under the morning sun. For the first time since she left Adrian Whitmore, she felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Footsteps approached behind her. Luca DeLuca placed a cup of coffee beside her. "You should eat," he said. "I will." He didn't leave. Instead, he leaned against the railing beside her, close enough that she could feel his presence, but not close enough to overwhelm her. "They confessed," he said. She looked up. Already. They named Adrian. Payment details. Instructions. Everything. Her chest tightened. "So it's really over?" "Yes." The certainty in his voice settled deep inside her. "What happens to him?" she asked. "He's being investigated," Luca replied. "Attempted kidnapping. Conspiracy. Harassment." She let out a slow breath. "Freedom. Real freedom." "Thank you," she said quietly. "You don't owe me thanks." "I do." He shook his head slightly. "You walked away. I just made sure you stayed free." Silence stretched between them. Different this time. Warmer. She studied him. The dangerous man everyone seemed to fear. The same man who made her coffee, who listened, who protected without asking for anything. "You didn't have to do all this," she said. "I wanted to." The honesty caught her off guard. "Why?" Luca turned toward her fully. "Because from the moment you walked into that cafe, I couldn't ignore you." Her heartbeat quickened. "That's not a good reason," she whispered. "It is for me." The air shifted. He stepped closer. Not touching. Just there. "You're safe now," he said softly. "You can stay as long as you need. No pressure. No expectations." But there was something unspoken beneath his words. She felt it. The pull. The quiet connection. The beginning of something neither of them had planned. "I don't want to leave," she admitted. His gaze darkened slightly. "Then don't." Simple. Final. The lake shimmered behind them. The world felt distant. Isabella realized she wasn't just staying for safety anymore. She was staying for him. And Luca DeLuca knew it. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button. Subscribe so you never miss a story, and drop a comment telling us where in the world you're listening.